Hello and welcome along to episode 77 of the All Things Leeds podcast. I'm NkGhTg and joining me remotely, as always, is Charles Foster. Charles, how are you?
I'm fine, mate. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. We've got plenty coming up, I'm sure, loads to talk about. We haven't recorded for 2 weeks or so. I think it was just the international break and we both just decided to just forget about it for a week, really, and take some time off. So, yeah, we're back now after 2 weeks off, and we've got plenty to discuss in this show and catch up on. We've, of course, got to look back on Leeds United's previous game, which was 2 weeks ago, that 1-0 draw with Manchester City at Elland Road. We've got plenty of news to catch up on as well before we look ahead to Leeds United's next game, which sees them take on Wolverhampton Wanderers at Elland Road on Monday night. Loads coming up here on the All Things Leeds podcast. Now, we know that this game was 2 weeks ago, but let's start by looking back on Leeds United's 1-0 draw with Manchester City's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City at Elland Road. A great point here. And Charles, everyone was expecting a really good game, and this game certainly didn't disappoint, did it?
No, it was certainly very entertaining. It wasn't the most stress-free game of football I've ever watched, but particularly in the first 25 minutes. But yeah, it was very enjoyable. Lots of chances. Very, very, very open. One of the most open games of football I've ever seen, particularly in the second half. It seemed like it was just, every team was constantly in the other team's 18-yard box. It was very fast paced and there was a lot of intensity to it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good game. These are the games we wanted to see, and I know it got built up a little bit in the media because as it would do with Pep versus Bielsa and stuff, and Sky like to build up and stuff. But it was very entertaining.
Yeah, certainly was. And yeah, even though it was against Manchester City, and I went into the game with no expectations at all. I know that I predicted a win for the game, but realistically, I had no expectations heading into it, because you're looking at it thinking we're against Manchester City, who are a world-class team, Champions League semi-finalists last season, won the Carabao Cup last season. I think it is smart to go into these kind of games with no expectations. So if you do lose and lose heavily, which can so easily happen, then you're not left too disappointed. But in the end, it was quite nervy, and I was really hoping that Leeds United would hold on for a point, because we deserved it, really. And yeah, it was a very entertaining game. Certainly didn't disappoint at all. And as you mentioned, in the first 20-25 minutes or so, Leeds United were really under the cosh. Manchester City were relentless. The fact that it took Leeds United 4 minutes and 50 seconds to make a single touch inside City's half just says it all, really, about the early stages. Leeds United were really on the back foot. De Bruyne almost caught Messier out with a free kick, but luckily for Leeds, his effort hit the post. Now, Charles, Messier is a fantastic goalkeeper, especially for a 20-year-old. But would you think it's fair to say that he could improve on his positioning at set pieces?
I think slightly, but I think the free kick caught everybody out. I wasn't expecting it, and I think Messier was expecting to have to compete in the air to catch it or to punch it away. But those are the kind of things that the players like De Bruyne can do. So you have to be wary of that. And you also have to be paying enough attention to know that you're not supposed to be running towards the penalty spot before you have to, and leaving your line. I do think sometimes that he gives himself a little bit too much to do with his positioning, and I think he backs himself, which I do like to see in a goalkeeper. But he is going to get caught out with things like that. If he doesn't tighten up slightly. But these are small criticisms. He's had a fantastic season so far, and I thought he had a good game in general, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't really got any major complaints. And I thought De Bruyne, other than that first 25 minutes, was smothered really by the midfield. I thought Calvin and Click did a job on him. Really, I don't think he did much, and I think Foden as well didn't get as much joy as soon as we clamped down on that middle and got a bit more confidence. I think the first 25 minutes was fear. I think we were a bit shell shocked. I think we were. What I was saying to my brother when I was watching it was that we look like we're expecting to concede here. They look like we're just waiting for the first one to go in, and you can't go out. You can't play like that because you'll just lose. and I think it was it took the first goal going in and a few, getting out of our own half a bit and a few nice touches here and then, a few patterns of play before we got enough confidence to really properly kick on. And once we did kick on, I thought we matched them, to be honest with you. I thought we certainly had our chances. I think particularly the fullbacks. So yeah, that first 25 minutes, I think it was just a bit of shell shock and a bit of fear.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that's a fair assessment, really. And Calvin Phillips said after the game, he said that they probably showed Manchester City too much respect in that opening 20 minutes or so. And yeah, I'd certainly agree. We really were, shell shocked, as you say. And yeah, that De Bruyne free kick, I don't think anyone was expecting it, but I think Mezier should think, all right, it's De Bruyne here. He's a world class midfielder, arguably the best midfielder in the world. So we can't really, be too safe and sure that it's going to be a cross. So yeah, I do think positionally he can improve, but overall he is, fantastic goalkeeper and a fantastic season, and he was good in this game. And yeah, De Bruyne to make him quiet for majority of the game was really good. When the midfield eventually grew into the game, I thought Phillips, especially in that first half, he was crowded out a bit, but we got our rhythm together, and we did slowly grow into the game and matched them really, which was really impressive to see. But yeah, City created loads of chances early on. Torres had an effort blocked off the line by Dallas, but of course the goal came on 17 minutes. Raheem Sterling here cutting in from the left-hand side and killing the ball into the bottom right-hand corner. And I think you've got to take your hats off here and say, it's a fantastic finish from Sterling, but do you think the defence could have done a bit better to prevent this goal, Charles?
Yeah, I think the City's front line pressed Meslier quite well and forced him into a couple of mistakes with his distribution. So he kind of lofts the ball out towards Luke Hale and he gets intercepted. And City basically come onto us immediately. Initially, I don't know if it's Sterling or Foden. I can't remember which player it was. It was a while ago now. Gives the ball away to Liam Cooper, back to him. So he has the opportunity to clear, but he clears poorly. He basically clears it straight back to one of their players, and then so that's his first mistake. And his second mistake is he dives in at the wrong moment to try and block Sterling's shot, and so Sterling rounds him, and there's not enough pressure from the rest of the defence to force him into having a bit more of a difficult shot. So it's just straight in the corner. When you give players like Raheem Sterling of that quality, that time and space, they will punish you. So I think that goal certainly felt like it was coming. But I did feel that a few minutes after that we did improve.
Yeah, but you must admit though, when that goal went in, you were thinking, all right, we've been on the back foot since the first minute here. For the first 20 minutes or so, Manchester City are 1-0 up. This is the first of many goals. You must admit that you probably did think that, but no, Leeds United slowly but surely grew into the game. And yeah, as you said, we matched Manchester City really, which is fantastic when you consider the caliber of player they have compared to us. Leeds created a few chances. Dallas had a one-on-one, which the defender Kyle Walker I think did quite well there. Alioski, of course, headed just over the bar very early on. Bamford also had a strike as well. But the big chance obviously came just before half-time with Calvin Phillips' free kick, trying to find Luke Ayling on that right-hand side, making a run, and Mendy made a horrible mess of it. Let Ayling through. He beat a man, but then couldn't beat Ederson. And Luke Ayling, I think you need to consider that he is a right back. He's not a clinical finisher, and yeah, it was a good chance. He probably should have maybe scored, but I do think you got to take hats off to Ederson here. I thought it was fantastic goalkeeping, really.
Yeah, I think Ayling did everything right. He forced the mistake out of Mendy, collected the ball, and then he cuts inside onto his left, which dodges at least one of the City's centre halves, sends him for a hot dog there, as people say. And then it's just good goalkeeping from Ederson. He closes him down quickly, makes himself big, and just blocks the shot. So it was a great chance. I thought Mendy in particular was. We targeted him very well. I thought he had a decent game attacking wise at Benjamin Mendy, but defensively he looked off it. His positioning was off. He was too high up, and I don't think he got to grips properly. Which is why later on in the game, as we're going to discuss, I thought Poveda ripped into pieces, to be honest. But this is the first time that Ayling properly started exploiting Mendy's defensive weaknesses down that side. And I think particularly after Mendy got booked, it got worse because Leeds targeted his side far more because they knew that if he dived in or lunged anything, he was getting sent off. So we could afford to take a few more risks down his side. But yeah, I thought the fullbacks in particular, as you were saying, were by far our most dangerous outlet.
Yeah, I'd certainly agree. But yeah, a big chance just before half time. Of course, 1-0 to City at half time. Alioski came off at the break for a 20-year-old winger, Ian Poveda, playing against his former club, of course. And yeah, Poveda, I thought Poveda was fantastic. You know, for a 20-year-old, he's got so much confidence, bags of ability. And yeah, he was really, really good. Changed the game for Leeds going forward, in my opinion, especially on that right-hand side. As you say, you know, we put Mendy under serious pressure. And, you know, the fact that Mendy went off during that second half for Nathan Ake just shows the job that Poveda did on Mendy. I thought Poveda was excellent, wasn't he?
Yeah, I thought it was a really astute move by Bielsa to switch Costa to the other side. I thought it was far more effective on the other side than he was down Mendy's side. I thought Costa was really not great for the first kind of 30 minutes or so, and I thought once Poveda came on the second half and they swapped sides, I thought it was far more effective. I thought it was getting far more joy. Yeah, Poveda was brilliant. I think he did have a bit of a point to prove with it being his former club, and obviously signing for us on a free transfer. But I thought, yeah, he was excellent. He really was brilliant, and this is why it confused me when we signed another winger, because I thought, well, we kind of got one for free already.
Yeah.
We'll get onto that later. We'll get onto that later on. I thought he was brilliant in this game, and I thought he was probably man of the match, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd somewhat agree with that. I thought Poveda was really good, and we certainly didn't miss Jack Harrison, which I thought we would. I thought we would miss Harrison, of course, who couldn't play against his parent club. He's of course only on loan from City. So yeah, I didn't feel as though we missed Jack Harrison. I thought Poveda, you know, proved everyone wrong. He proved a point, made a point, and yeah, I thought it was a very good. I was surprised to not see Rodrigo come on at halftime though for Tyler Roberts, which we've become used to seeing so far this season. And Charles, again, Tyler Roberts, he didn't have a great game in that first half, did he?
No, he just really didn't suit the game. But I mean, Rodrigo came on, I think, the 55th minute anyway, so he did come on pretty soon after the restart. So yeah, but Rodrigo was brilliant as well. He was causing all sorts of problems with his link-up play, and it's just he just chose to have a shot at every given opportunity, or try and force a chance where there wasn't a chance, or try and. There was several times where he was just trying to get the ball to Bamford in the box, didn't always come off. Obviously, his chanced shot towards Ederson forced the save, which eventually led to the corner, which led to him scoring the goal, our goal, I should say. So yeah, he was causing a lot of problems, and I think he was just more doing a lot more. He just seemed a lot more present in the game than Roberts was. Roberts seemed to be a bit drifting, a bit anonymous. Didn't really seem to be doing much. He just seemed to be too close to Bamford at all times. Well, I mean, we've discussed this in the past about how he tends to drift too far forward and doesn't do enough of the defensive running that we require for the system. But he was, I was pleased to see Rodrigo come on. I thought him and Poveda really swung the game, and you could see that by the substitutions that Guardiola was making, bringing the likes of Ake on at left back and Fernandinho on to basically shore it up because we were getting far too far forward in the game.
Yeah, I'd agree. I thought Poveda and Rodrigo changed the game completely, and my man of the match personally was Rodrigo. I thought it was fantastic. Were you surprised to not see Rodrigo start, especially after that good second half performance against Sheffield United in the game beforehand? Were you surprised to not see Rodrigo start?
No, we know what Bielsa's like. He tends to drip feed players in. I expect him to start against Wolves. And I know we're going to get onto the preview in a bit, but I wasn't overly surprised. Bielsa is very loyal to his starting players, so it doesn't really surprise me much. And every now and again, Tyler Roberts does have a good half of football when he's that makes it sound like I'm judging him really harshly there, but it's just because he only ever tends to play a half. He doesn't seem to get 90 minutes as Tyler Roberts.
Yeah.
Even when he plays well. Yeah, but what was I saying there? I've completely lost my train of thought. You'll have to remind me.
Yeah. No, well, I agree with the fact that I think Rodrigo will start against Wolves. I think that he does have to start from now on, especially after that performance against City. But yeah, Rodrigo I thought was superb when he came on 56 minutes. Of course, almost scored as soon as he did come on with that effort from the left-hand side. He had no right to shoot from that angle, but he did anyway. Forced Edison into a good save. He tipped over the bar for the corner. And of course, Leeds United scored from that corner. Calvin Phillips whipping the ball in, and Edison uncharacteristically just missing the catch completely. The ball fell to Rodrigo, who turned and tapped the ball home to equalise for Leeds United, to score his first goal of the season and first goal for Leeds United. And that was Leeds United's 650th goal in 472 Premier League games, which is a fantastic stat. Thank you to LUFC Stats, also known as Dalton, for that stat. And that goal was also the 800th goal scored by a Spaniard in the Premier League. So yeah, Rodrigo breaking all kinds of records here. And yeah, Rodrigo almost got a second as well shortly after, meeting Luke Ayling's cross with his head, forcing Edson into a really good fingertip save. And yeah, Rodrigo, I thought it was brilliant when he came on. Just really good. And it was just a really good game. Really, really good game of football. Leeds United were excellent in that second half, as you mentioned, with the substitutions there of Fernandinho and Ake. Manchester City were really under pressure, and they needed to make some changes. And yeah, just a really good second half performance from Leeds. Just a really great, fantastic game of football. Very entertaining. A great tactical battle between Guardiola and Bielsa. And yeah, it was just, really open end to end. It was just a really, really good game of football, Charles, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's the kind of games I wanted to watch when we got promoted. As we discussed in previous weeks, we've had a long time playing Rotherham and Hull and Preston. It's just nice to actually play the big games. And compete, at the highest level, because that's what we're here to do. We're not here to make up the number. We're not Stoke, Burnley, or Fulham. We're not just here or Norwich. When we get promoted, we get battered, we go back down. We win the championship, we get promoted. We get battered, we go back down. I don't want to be that kind of club. The whole point of football is to compete. If you're not competing, there's no point.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's been other things in the news over the last week or so about that, but obviously we're not discussing that. But that's the point. The point is to compete. And if you can't compete, then you may as well not bother. So I'm pleased we can turn up, and especially as a newly promoted side, that makes it just that little bit sweeter to know that we can turn up and turn it on and not get demolished by teams that are on much higher budgets than us. That does fill me with pride.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, and I think it was a really big statement, from Leeds United. Just a statement of intent, to show that we're not here just to mess around and just roll over for the big teams and go straight back down. We are here to to do something in the Premier League. We are here to achieve some big things. So yeah, I thought it was a really big statement. This result, really. It was quite nervy towards the end, though. Really, Leeds United were on the back foot again for the last 10 or 15 minutes or so. Manchester City creating a lot more chances. There were a few penalty shouts as well, which for me were never penalties. None of them were penalties, really. Stuart Dallas.
Some of them were pretty questionable, to be fair. The
Billy keeper challenge on Sterling.
Yeah,
that one springs to mind.
Yeah, that one was a little bit marginal. I thought.
Yeah.
The one where he when Leif Davis literally just challenges him for the ball and not even puts a foot in, just basically physically bumps into him and he falls on his backside. That was pathetic, and that was I like Sterling and he's a really good player, but he
just spent a lot of time on the floor.
Yeah, he's just one of them. He was shouting for a penalty every 5 minutes. Every time he got the ball in the box and he got dispossessed, he just fell over and claimed for a pen on the off chance to give him one.
Yeah, it was just like a little spell where City were just fighting for penalties for some reason. So, but we were under the cosh for the last stages of the game, but luckily we held on to pick up that draw. Do you feel as though Stuart Dallas was lucky not to see a red card during that second half for his late challenge on Bernardo Silva?
That was a horrible challenge, and yeah, he is lucky, especially with the VAR cameras on him. He literally just puts his foot into the side of his shin, so that's a red card. I mean, he mistimes it totally. So he's a very lucky boy there. Is Stuart. So, but
Yeah, I think so as well. But no, Leeds United, held on to pick up that 1-1 draw, a very big and undeserved point, really. Definitely a deserved point. I'd certainly say it was a fair result. Would you?
On the balance of play, I would say yes, especially given they only had that one shot on target, because they scored 1 or 2 shots on target. I think it's just 1 shot on target they had all game, which is hilarious when you're playing a Pep Guardiola side and you make them only have 1 shot. I think we had like 7 or did we have, was it 6 or 7 shots on target? We had more possession. I think we even had more passes as well.
Yeah, we did.
To do that to do that to a team which is famous for basically, relentlessly firing shots on the opposition's goal, like Guardiola's team, passing team pitch and having like 70% possession, to do that back to them was good. I did really enjoy that.
Yeah, 100%. It was surreal.
As soon as Rodrigo scored, I was looking at the clock and thinking, it's like 30 minutes left here. It's a long time to go. we got to hold on for a long time. It wasn't like the Sheffield United one where we basically just scored and then the game ended straight away. So, and that was far stressful.
Yeah, but no, it was incredible. And to look at the stats, 53% possession pretty much against Manchester City. It's just insane. And we've had the most possession out of all of our first 4 games of the Premier League so far this season. Against Liverpool, the champions last season, 51.2% possession. Of course, away from home as well. Against Fulham, 50% possession. Against Sheffield United, 63, near enough 64% possession. And then against Manchester City, 52% possession. It's just incredible stats, really. And we're not here to mess about. It's certainly been a fantastic start from Leeds United. Now, Liam Gallagher of Oasis tweeted out afterwards that with Aguero or Jesus, it probably could have been a different game. And, I do somewhat agree. I think, with a clinical striker for Manchester City, they probably could have finished a lot more of their chances, because Sterling isn't an outright number 9, really. And, I think if there is a perfect time to get Manchester City, this was probably it, because they did have quite a lot of injuries. But I don't think he can take anything away from Leeds United, really. I do think it was certainly a deserved point, a fair result, really. That is Bielsa's 13th 1-1 draw in 96 league games at Leeds United, for 6th at Elland Road. And yeah, credit to all those Leeds United players. They really did do us proud to go up against a world-class team in Manchester City, put in a performance like that, pick up a result like that. It's just fantastic, just absolutely surreal. That's now 2 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss from our first 4 Premier League games of the season, 2 of which coming against the top 2 from last season, which is just insane. We have, of course, on 7 points in the league table. It's just been a great start to the season, hasn't it, Charles?
Yeah, fantastic. And we've had a tough start as well, because the fixtures haven't really fallen kindly. Playing 2 of the top 2 from last season is not brilliant for your first 4 games as a newly promoted team. And again, next game is Wolves. That's going to be tough as well, because they're always in the top kind of 7 or 8. So that's going to be hard. I'm very pleased with the points tally. I think if you'd have offered any Leeds fan 7 points of the first 4, I think you'd have snapped your hand off, really. So, I am pleased with that.
Yeah, certainly. It's been a wonderful, wonderful start for Leeds United this season. Of course, our focus is now on the next game, which is, of course, against Wolverhampton Wanderers at Elland Road on Monday evening. We'll preview that game later on in the show. So since we last spoke, the Leeds United under-23s have played 1 game in which they lost 3-2 to Reading away from home. They did have to play that game without 18-year-old striker Sam Greenwood, who has been very prolific for them so far this season. He unfortunately picked up an injury while representing England at youth level during the international break, and he will be out for around 3 to 4 weeks. Charles, Greenwood's sure to be a big loss for the under-23s, isn't he?
Well, yeah, because he got like 5 goals in his first 3 games. Those are phenomenal numbers. He should be in the first team type of numbers. So, yeah, it is a big loss. We seem to be picking up a lot of injuries at the moment. I don't know why that is. Particularly on international duty, we're picking up a lot of injuries.
Yeah,
I think it's because we're going to discuss, we've lost Liam Cooper and Renzi on international duty as well. To be honest, Scotland are kind of annoying me now as well because I'm injuring Liam Cooper every time they call him up. So
yeah,
not Scotland as a country, I'd like to say, but Scotland as a national football team, they're annoying me to be honest with you. Sam Greenwood is it's a fantastic player for the under-23. He'll be a big loss, but hopefully Gelhardt can make up the difference and still score a few goals.
Yeah, certainly. A big shout out to Sam Greenwood as well, who picked up the PL2 Player of the Month award for September. A very good month. Yeah, as you say, 5 goals in 3 games, I think it was. So, Sam Greenwood, a very good player, and he will be a big loss for the under-23s, no doubt about it. Despite that defeat, though, Mark Jackson's side do remain third in the PL2. And hopefully they do bounce back from that defeat in their next game. Elsewhere, the Leeds United under-21s have played their second group stage game of the EFL Trophy, in which they drew 2-2 away at Barrow. Max Dean scored a brace to give Leeds a 2-0 lead at half-time, but Barrow did equalise late on in the game. Now, if you don't know much about the EFL Trophy in the group stage, basically, if you draw, then you get a point on the board, but games that are all square at the end of normal time go to a penalty shootout, and the winner of that shootout gets an extra point for some reason. I don't know why that is the case, but that is the case. And anyway, Barrow won the shootout, unfortunately, and picked up that extra point. But the Leeds United under-21s do have their first point on the board in the EFL Trophy group stage, which is great to see. And congratulations to them, and hopefully they can build on that point. And also, since we last recorded the podcast, the Leeds United women have drawn 0-0 at home with Chesterley Street Town. Dan O'Hearn's side take on Bradford City next on Tuesday, the 27th of October, with that game kicking off at 7:45 p.m. So let's now have a look at some news. And since we last spoke, both the international and domestic transfer windows have shut, and we've seen just one more player through the door at Leeds United in the shape of Brazilian winger Rafinha, whose transfer was announced late on Monday, the 5th of October, just before the 11 p.m. deadline. The 23-year-old has joined Leeds from French side Rennes for a fee of around £17 million plus add-ons. He has signed a 4-year deal at Elland Road, running until the summer of 2024, and he will wear the number 18 shirt at Leeds United. Now, Charles, I must admit, I was getting quite worried the longer that this transfer rumbled on that day. Were you?
It did give off certain Daniel James vibes, I have to be saying. And when it got to kind of 10 o'clock, I was thinking, this is an issue here. We probably should have got this done by now. But then obviously they announced it on 10:30, so that was all right. That was good. Been given Pontus Jansson's number 18, so which is good really, because 18 is more of a winger's number than a centre half's number. At least that's the way I see it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There was obviously a big outpouring of rage from the Rennes fans at losing him, which is always a good sign when you sign a player. The fans of the club you've signed him from are gutted to lose him. From what I understand from the Athletic, his teammates at Rennes didn't want to lose him either. They were trying to convince him to stay because I think he scored and assisted in the game before. I think he played the day before.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, the
deadline day in a game and scored and assisted, and then basically got on a plane to either Manchester or Leeds, Bradford, which airport he got to. I'm not one of those people that track their planes going into airports. I think that's baffling behaviour, to be honest. But yeah, it was very entertaining, and obviously I can't say the exact wording of some of the tweets, but suffice to say there was the French fans are calling us a fish and chip country, and then Digital Wilson, big Craig Wilson, decided to take the mick out of him really with that picture of the fish and chips next to the signing sheet on the announcement photo, which made me laugh. So yeah, that was great. Yeah, I am actually looking forward to seeing him, especially given what we've learned in the in Bielsa's pre-Wolves press conference that there was. I think it was yesterday or possibly the day before. I think it might have been Friday, when he was saying that he's adapted basically immediately to the system and can join in with the main squad as soon as possible, which is really encouraging to hear. obviously, I'll stop saying that. You got to go. You got to go off YouTube clips at this point because we haven't seen him play. We haven't seen him in any game. So as bad as it is, and as good as John Pataka looked on YouTube, we have to go by YouTube clips. And he does look like a good player. And
yeah, he does.
But I'm not sure. I know Bielsa likes to have two players in each position, but I'm not sure we needed another winger. I don't. I know it's probably not going to be popular me saying that, but I'm not sure it was strictly necessary. But if he turns out to be a world beater, I'm happy to be made to look a mug once again. So
yeah, certainly. I think I don't think we did need a winger. We'll get onto that topic shortly, but. No, I think Rafinha, judging by clips of him, he certainly does look good. Very fast, very skillful. Has a wicked left foot coming in from that right hand wing. So I do think Rafinha does look quite good. And yeah, obviously with the Ven fans not being too happy, I think that is good signs. And I was getting nervy on that day. As long as it was rumbling on, it did feel like a Dan James or Michael Creasant situation. But no, thankfully Leeds United got it over the line, and yeah, it certainly does look like a very good signing. Now, if you don't know too much about Rafinha, he was born and grew up in Brazil, the same city as Brazilian star Ronaldinho. He's had a meteoric rise in his professional footballing career, after impressing in his one season at Cristiano Ronaldo's boyhood club Sporting Lisbon, where he scored 9 goals and registered 5 assists in 41 games, including in the Europa League. He made a move to French side Rennes on the final day of the 2019 summer transfer window for a reported fee of around €20.7 million, a move which Rennes club president at the time said was the biggest transfer in the modern history of Rennes. Rafinha had a great first season at Rennes last season, scoring 5 goals and getting 3 assists in the league, helping Rennes achieve their highest position in the league, qualifying for the Champions League with a 3rd place finish. Now, Charles, I think that speaks volumes of Rafinha, doesn't it, really? He could be playing Champions League football this season, but instead has decided to join newly promoted Leeds United. Maybe a bit mental, really, but I do think that does speak volumes, really. And it's clearly the Marcelo Bielsa factor working its magic again.
Yeah, I think it shows ambition as well. I think the opportunity to play in the Premier League, I think, was a big attraction for him as well, to play against some of the best players in the world. I think he's seen that opportunity, and I think he's decided that the project at Leeds is something worth investing himself in. So I'm really pleased that he's chosen to come, and I think he said he'd watched clips of Leeds playing against Liverpool and Manchester City, and I thought they were just, I can't remember his exact wording, but essentially I thought they were brilliant. So I thought we were brilliant in our style of play. So I really do think that he will probably adapt fairly well. We'll see though. There's a difference between looking good in training and looking good on the pitch, as many players have proved in the past. So we'll see how he does.
Yeah, we certainly will. But I do quite like the sound of him. The fact that he has chosen to come to Leeds and already knows a lot about the club, I think that does speak volumes of Rafinha, really. This season, Rafinha has played 6 times for Rennes, scoring 1 goal and getting 2 assists. With that goal and one of those assists coming just 24 hours before his move to Leeds United, as we mentioned earlier, which I think just shows he's got great character, to know that he's going to be leaving the club, to still go out and put in a solid performance like that. It certainly is good signs, isn't it, Charles? With the fans not being happy, with Rafinha knowing a lot about Leeds United, putting in a good performance despite leaving the club 24 hours later. It is good signs, isn't it? It's promising signs.
Yeah, I think it does show that he's our level of commitment, and I hope if he was to leave Leeds, he'd give us a similar parting present of scoring an assist in his last game. So because some players just jack it in. I know obviously we enjoyed the Chris Wood's final season not his final season because he left at the start of one of the seasons, but the Gary Monk season where Chris Wood scored 30 goals, but the following season he basically was playing badly because he knew he was going to get the move anyway, and he knew he was moving to Burnley, so he didn't commit himself. He refused to play against Sunderland. So that for me is it's disrespectful, to be honest. I think it's disrespectful. I understand why players do it, but I think it's disrespectful to basically jack it in on the off chance you get injured. When you've got people like Gaetano Berardi getting 7-month-long knee injuries by playing the final 5 games of a season, and he got injured in a game where we were already promoted.
Yeah, and his contract was out at the end of that season as well. So. Yeah, I do think it is a good sign that Rafinha, he is putting good performances in for them despite leaving the club shortly after. But as you say, though, and I'd agree with you, I don't think he is a player that we desperately needed. I think that we already have enough wingers at the club, in my opinion, with Jack Harrison, Alioski, Helder Costa, Poveda, and Somerville. And then if you count Stuart Dallas, that's 6 wingers at the club already. And we've already got enough left-footed forwards as well in Rodrigo, Bamford, Costa and Harrison. So I didn't think it wasn't a player who we desperately needed, but of course now we've got him. I'm not going to complain because he does look to be a fantastic signing, and he does seem to be a very good player, and it'll certainly be interesting to see where he does fit in at Leeds United. He is now certainly one of, if not the most talented winger at the club. Definitely has the best CV, really, and he will certainly won't be far away from starting in the starting 11 anytime soon. But Costa and Harrison, they've adapted to life in the Premier League well, really. They've had a good start to the season, both of them. And, I'd say that Harrison and Costa don't deserve to be dropped anytime soon. Would you agree?
I would. I mean, Jack Harrison missed the last game due to his loan obligations. So we'll see if he comes back in. I think he probably will. I think Helder Costa has had a very solid start to the season. He's got a couple of goals and an assist. I think they all came in the Fulham game. Did his contributions, but he's had a good start as well. And I thought his general play has been good. So it's nice to see a bit of competition. I prefer everyone being good than everyone being terrible. It's never great when everyone's off form. It's great when everyone's on form. And I'm sure Bielsa will enjoy this type of selection headache.
Yeah, certainly. It certainly will provide some strong competition. And where does it leave Ian Poveda as well, who of course played well against Manchester City? What does that mean for him? It's certainly going to be exciting to see. The players. They'll certainly improve. Each player will certainly improve. They'll strong competition. They'll want to prove a point. And it's exciting. Really, it really, really is exciting. And Rafinha definitely is a top player and a very good addition. And I'm very excited by it and looking forward to seeing him play. Really, I'm really looking forward to seeing him play for Leeds United. Of course, he is predominantly, I can say that word, predominantly a left winger. He can play on the right winger rather. He's a right winger, but he can play on the left wing as well and in the centre. So it'll be interesting to see where he does play, see how he adapts. But no number 10 through the door, Charles. No midfielder, no proper number 10 through the door, which is what we wanted. We've been saying it quite a lot on this podcast. We wanted a proper midfielder through the door, but that hasn't happened. Do you think that could come back to bite us this season at all,
though? Possibly. It very much depends on how fit Pablo and consistent form-wise Pablo Hernandez is. Whether or not Forshaw ever returns. There's a lot of factors whether or not it'll be devastating. I think as always with this squad and with the squads that Bielsa has had, it's down to injuries. If we have a lot of injuries, then there's going to be issues. If we don't, then I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. I think it'll just be a very long season for Matthijs Klick and Calvin Phillips once again in that central midfield. But they're happy to do the work, so fair play to them.
Yeah, certainly. You just hope that Klick or Phillips don't get injured now as well. But I think what we've proved this season, we've been without Pablo Hernandez for the past 2 games or so, or past 3 games in the league rather. So I think we've shown that we can adapt and can just keep on going without Pablo Hernandez. But I do think it would have been wise just to get a proper midfielder and a proper number 10 in just to fill that hole when Pablo Hernandez isn't there really, because we can't rely on him too much. And Tyler Roberts isn't doing too great. Rodrigo's been fantastic there, but for me, he's more of a number 9. So, I do think it would have been wise. It wouldn't have been a bad decision, just to get another midfielder through the door. But nevertheless, we've got Rafinha. He's a very good signing. It's going to be good competition. And yeah, we'll need to see how we do. But yeah, certainly a very good signing is Rafinha. We have also seen players leave Leeds United as well since we last spoke. 19-year-old Polish midfielder Mateusz Bogusz has joined Spanish side Logroñés on loan for the season. And I saw a lot of people not too happy with this. And, I can understand why, really. I've seen Bogusz play a few times. I've been very impressed with him. I think he is a very good, young player, very talented player. And, of course, we don't have too many players in that midfield position. It would have been good to see him, try and work his way into the first team, provide some competition there. But let's face it, he wasn't going to get in the first team at Leeds United anytime soon, really. He's not even making it he wasn't even making it on the bench. So I do think it was wise for him to find a loan move. Now, I don't want to go all talk sport moose about it, but I think it would have been nice for him just to stay in English football and learn the English game. But no, I think it is good that he has gone out and gone on loan and in the hope to find some regular first team football. What about you, Charles?
I think the pace of the Spanish game and the kind of technical passing with him being a number 10 might be useful for him. I think with British football is usually better for, in particular, hardening players up. So if you're sending a centre back out on loan or a defensive midfielder out on loan, you want to send them down to like League One or League Two, where they're going to be two-footing people every week and getting two-footed themselves to toughen them up, basically. But as we've seen with McCarmont and Gotts going out on loan as well, as we'll go on to discuss. But yeah, I think as a number 10, it might be better for him to play in the Spanish leagues, the Spanish league instead. Yeah. I think it's is it Spanish? Is it the Spanish second division he's in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it'd be fine, and it'd be interesting to see how he can develop. And I hope he's one of the few players that we sent to the Leeds United sent out on loan that come back a better player. It seems that every time we send out a player on loan, there seems to be their career up with us. Other than Mateusz Klich, it tends to end badly. I think Klich's the only example of someone where we send them out on loan, they come back and then they are much better.
Yeah, I mean, you think of all the players who've gone out on loan, Sibicki, J-Boy Grop, so many players who've gone out on loan and just been dreadful. Lovens the Bock as well. So, but no, Mateusz Bogusz, he certainly is a good player, and I'm glad that he's gone out on loan. And that's a fair point what you make, about Spanish game and English game. But nevertheless, it is good that he's gone out on loan in the hope to find some first team minutes, and hopefully he comes back a much improved player, and we have an exciting player on our hands next summer. Bogusz isn't the only youngster who has gone out on loan. 20-year-old midfielder Robbie Gotts has joined League One side Lincoln City for the season, so good luck to him there. And we've also seen a member of the first team move on as well. 31-year-old left back Barry Douglas has joined Championship side Blackburn Rovers on loan for the season. And at the end of the season, his contract at Leeds expires. So I think it's fair to say that he's moved on for good, really. And Charles, at first, I wasn't too bothered by this. I wasn't too bothered by Douglas leaving. He hasn't really done much during his time at Leeds United. He certainly isn't the player we all thought we got from Wolverhampton Wanderers, really. He's, of course, picked up many injuries as well, unfortunately, and hasn't featured for the first team many times. He's only played 44 times during his 2 years at Leeds United. He wasn't a player, we needed, really. He wasn't going to start week in, week out in the Premier League. And, I think that it's good that he has gone somewhere to get some, hopefully regular first team football, because I do quite like Barry Douglas and I do like to see him play. But, Leeds made it a lot harder than it needed to be, seeing him leave with all these open letters from Victor Orta and everything. It was, it was lovely to see, really.
It was a nice touch, and he is the first of the permanent promotion lads to leave. So, yeah, I mean, I got to agree with you. I think it was potentially a bit too making people a bit too misty-eyed when it didn't need to be. But yeah, I think I look back on Barry Douglas as a good squad player at Leeds United, but not the player we needed in that position. And I don't think I agree with you. I don't think he was the player we wanted when we signed him. But he seems like a lovely bloke with a nice family. He seems like a great squad player. It seems like he was great for the dressing room, and he's very popular with the management and with the players. And Bielsa was saying that he regrets he couldn't enable Douglas to try. I think he said triumph, but I think he might have meant flourish under Bielsa's management. But fair play to Barry Douglas. When he did play, he was all right. He did a job. He was involved in the in us going up. So yeah, he doesn't leave on any bad terms with Leeds fans, and I'm sure he'll be welcome back if we were to ever, Blackburn somehow manage to get promoted, or if we draw him in the cup, or God forbid we get relegated. I'm sure we'll see him again.
Yeah, he's certainly very likable player. Very good to have in the dressing room. Really, plenty of experience. He did seem to be loved by the players and management. And he's a good player. I am quite a fan of Barry Douglas, but he wasn't going to get in the first team at Leeds United anytime soon. And I am pleased for him that he has gone out, to try and find some regular first team football, hopefully. So yeah, good luck to Barry Douglas. I'll be thankful for all he's done at Leeds United, of course, helping us win that promotion. I'll always remember his performance against Millwall, where he only had one good leg, and he squared it to Luke Ayling. So I'll always be thankful for what Barry Douglas has done, and good luck to him over at Blackburn Rovers. And that's it for the 2020 summer transfer window. 12 players through the door at Leeds United, 7 of which for the first team, and 3 of which were already at Leeds United last season, and 5 youth players going out on loan, with Douglas also leaving. Charles, what would you rate Leeds United's transfer window this summer out of 10?
8.5.
Why?
I think it would have been 10 if we'd have got a proper attacking midfielder. I think we got everything else we needed pretty much. So I'm very pleased with the business. I think we have properly invested now. Like, there's no hype behind it. We have spent 100 million quid, so we need to kind of back that up with a good finish, and hopefully not do what Aston Villa did and rely on some faulty technology to stay up after spending 100 million. That will do nothing for my nerves. So I hope we stay up on and achieve a good finish.
Yeah, I'd certainly agree. I'd give it certainly a solid 8. 8.5. Yeah, solid 8 to 8.5. Certainly, it's been a wonderful transfer window, spending near enough £100 million, which is just absolutely insane. I still can't get my head around the fact that Leeds United have gone out and got players like Rodrigo and spent this amount of money. It really, really is just unbelievable. From being excited about the £1 million signing of Luke Murphy and the rivals of NkGhTg just 6 years ago, to now signing Rodrigo for £27 million plus add-ons. It's just incredible spending this amount of money in a transfer window. It really is just insane. And the business has been great. I agree with you. It would be I'd give it a 10 rating if we did get a proper number 10, proper midfielder through the door. But other than that, I think the additions have been superb, and the fact that all these youngsters have gone out on loan as well. We hopefully have a lot of good, very good, promising youngsters return to Thorpe Arch next summer. So that's very exciting. And I think the business by Leeds United has been, phenomenal, really. And massive credit to Andrea Berzani and Victor Orta as well, the director of football, who has been linked with a few moves away from Leeds United. Roma apparently offered him a lucrative deal, but Victor Orta is going nowhere, and why would he? Victor Orta is in the middle of a job here at Leeds United. He's only just got started, really, with the fact that we've just been promoted. So, Victor Orta, he's brought Bielsa in, brought all these players in. Why would he leave? He wouldn't. So, Victor Orta is staying at Leeds United, and big credit to him. It's been a phenomenal transfer window, in my opinion, and Charles agrees. So, fantastic window, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do in January and next summer as well, if we do stay up. So, fantastic summer transfer window from Leeds United this year. Big credit to everyone at the club for bringing in the players who we have. Moving on, it has of course been the international break, and with many Leeds United players going out on international duty, there is that big risk of players picking up injuries on international duty, and Leeds are now unfortunately without 2 senior centre-backs, as you mentioned earlier. 27-year-old Spaniard Diego Llorente and club captain Liam Cooper will be out. We'll miss them for the foreseeable future. God damn it.
Well, I think Llorente's injury is a bit worse. I think he's a couple of weeks. I think he's having a late fitness test on Monday. I think if he misses the Wolves game, I think he'll be back for the Villa game. It seems like he's not as far off. It doesn't seem to be as bad. But I am sort of sick of Scotland injuring Liam Cooper every chance they get. It's kind of annoying. I think Juventus had a few injury problems in the past as well, so it's not entirely surprising that he's picked up a couple of injuries there. But he's not starting at the moment at Juventus, so that's not as big of an issue. We do need Cooper back in, although I trust Streak to do a job. I just would rather we had a bit more, stability in the back line. Just a few weeks of the same back four playing together. That would be nice.
Yeah, certainly. And Cooper is the captain. We're of course going to miss the club captain, aren't we? And Levente, it was really good on the international break. He did a good job against Ronaldo when Spain faced Portugal. So it'll be a big miss. But it wasn't starting. But Liam Cooper, we'll certainly miss him. But I do trust Stewart. We do have options there. Of course, Robin Koch and Pascal Stewart can be the two centre backs in a back four. Could potentially move to a back three as well of Ayling, Koch and Stewart with Dallas and Alioski as the fullback. So we do have options there, but we don't have a centre back on the bench really. So it is annoying to have these injuries, but hopefully good luck to UNT and Cooper. Hopefully they do recover well and quickly, and we do have them back very, very soon. 35-year-old Pablo Hernandez, though, is back, which is fantastic news. Charles, does Hernandez go straight back in for you?
I would probably use him like we used him towards the end of last season, where I would start Rodrigo in the number 10. And if it's going well, then that's fine. Keep Rodrigo for 90 minutes. If it's not, we need a bit of inspiration. Bring Pablo on, for the last 30, 35 minutes and see what he can do, because he was devastatingly effective doing that towards the end of last season, just bringing him on against tired opposition and putting a few nice moves together and tearing them to pieces. So I think I would use him a bit more intelligently. I think starting him would probably be a bit of a mistake, especially with him coming back from injury.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think an impact sub really, you could say. So, but no, it's good that Hernandez is back. But I'd agree with you. I wouldn't throw him straight into the starting 11. And finally, 32-year-old defender Gaetano Bavardi has signed a new one-year deal at Leeds United, with the club helping him through his injury. We mentioned this earlier. Charles, this is great stuff by the club, really. Awarding a player for his tremendous loyalty and seeing him through his recovery. It's tremendous stuff by the club.
Yeah, I think it's because he could have easily just said, "Well, I'm out of contract. I don't want to play the last 5 games. I want to go back to Italy. I want to relax over there." And he didn't. He said, "I'll happily play if you need me. I'll play in the games." And he ended up getting injured in the game. We didn't even need to win. It was a more or less a friendly against Derby, an unfriendly because it's against Derby County. And then. Yeah, so I did feel for the guy at the time, especially the amount of contract. But it is good for the club to see him through his injury, and I hope he can make some kind of impact this season, even if it's only brief.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the club could have easily gone, well, you're going to be out for the entire season with an injury. We don't really want to pay you. You can go back home to Italy with this injury. But no, Leeds United have offered him a contract and they're going to pay him and see him through his recovery, which, I think is just absolutely marvellous when you got clubs like Arsenal sacking their mascot Gunnosaurus because they can't afford to pay his, more than likely minor wage. And then Leeds United are here giving a lot of money to a player who's going to be out for the entire season with an injury. So, it's tremendous stuff by Leeds United. Let's now have a look ahead to Leeds United's next game, which sees them take on Wolverhampton Wanderers at Elland Road on Monday evening, kicking off at 8 p.m. live on Sky Sports. Charles, this should be another fascinating game with 2 very good footballing sides going head-to-head.
Yeah, and they're similar to Sheffield United in the way that they play that. Is it 3-4-3 they kind of play? So they'll be playing... I imagine they'll revert to a 3-5-2 at some point during the game as well. So I think we might end up playing 3 centre-halves in our defensive shape. So because we know that's what Bielsa likes to do when we're up against 2 strikers. So I think, it'll be interesting. They've had a very mixed start to the season, but they're obviously a very established squad, a very decent manager, and some very, very dangerous players. I think Traore in particular and Jimenez are very dangerous players. So we'll see how we do against them. Ruben Neves as well, great player. So they have got a lot of dangerous. Rui Patricio in goal. He's a very solid goalkeeper. So yeah, it's by no means a banker. I think it's going to be tough, but I trust the lads to get it done. I think I'm confident about this one, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly going to be a very tough game. Wolves are a very good team, very established team, and an established Premier League team as well. They've done great since their promotion from the Championship in 2018, qualifying for the Europa League in their first season back in the Premier League, reaching the quarterfinals of the Europa League last season, while also finishing 7th in the Premier League again. So yeah, they're a very established team, a good team. Nuno's side though, they have had a mixed start to the season though, as you mentioned. They've won 2 and lost 2 of their opening 4 league games. One of those losses was a 4-0 defeat at West Ham United, incredibly. So yeah, they have had a mixed start to the season. They're 15th in the league table on 6 points, just 5 points above the relegation zone. So yeah, Charles, Wolves, they have a good side, but it'll be interesting to see what Wolverhampton Wanderers turn up on Monday night, won't it?
Yeah, obviously they've had a bit of trouble with a lot of their players being Portuguese and away in international duty, and a bit of coronavirus breaking out in the Portuguese camp. But it seems that all the players are tested negative, so there's no issue there. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how well they play out. I think particularly because it's at Elland Road, I'm expecting them, and they're infamous for their kind of lightning fast counter attacks, aren't they? Basically flying centre halves and fullbacks. So we'll see how that goes down. I think we'll definitely have the lion's share of the possession. I think they will try and hit us on the break with a bit of speed and a bit of quality, and hope they can take their chance. That's how I would play against Leeds if I was managing a team. So yeah, I expect them to do that, and I think we just have to be wary. We just have to be defensively solid and alert, and I think we will get our chances. And I think if we can keep our conversion rate at what it currently is, I think there's no reason why we can't go ahead and win this game.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we're certainly going to have to be on the top of our game if we do want to pick up any points from this game. 100%. Wolves, yeah, as we mentioned, they are a good side. Great players, Adama Traore, Jimenez. Yeah, just a really, really good team, and we will have to be on the top of our game. But we are going into this game in decent form. 2 wins, 1 draw, so unbeaten in our last 3 games. It'd be great to remain unbeaten. So yeah, decent form. So yeah, it will certainly be an interesting game. And I'm like you, Charles. I am quietly confident heading into this. I am quietly confident. Leeds, however, have lost their last 3 meetings with Wolves, and the last 2 in which we got battered 4-1 away and then 3-0 at home. So we don't have a good, decent record against Wolves. But can you see us turning it around here? Can you see us winning this game? What's your score prediction for Monday night?
Well, I mean, that team that they tore to pieces in that 17-18 season is nowhere near the same team that we've got now. Different culture, different manager, a lot of different players. Some of the same players, but they've been massively improved. So I don't put too much relevance on the last couple of results, and especially with them being a couple of years ago. You asked me about my score prediction. I think it'll be a 2-1 win.
Yeah, I'm quite confident as well. I reckon we'll pick up 3 points. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Leeds United. I'll go 3-1 to Leeds United. What's your lineup as well for this game? Do you think Rafinha will start?
No, I'll be a bench player. I expect. With Bielsa's comments in, is pretty much about him adapting quickly. I think he'll make the bench. I think it's very unlikely he'll start.
But what about Rodrigo as well? Do you think he may start?
I think he will start, and I would start him. But we know what Bielsa's like. But I think he will start.
And then the defence as well. Who goes in for you? Is it a back 4? Or is it a back 3 for you?
Well, we're short on centre halves anyway, so I think it'll either be Struijk, Koch, and Ayling in a back 3, or it'll be Stuart Dallas, Struijk, Koch, Ayling in a back 4. I think Cooper will likely fail the fitness test, but I'm hopefully won't, but I think he will.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully he doesn't fail a fitness test, but yeah, if he is out for this game, then yeah, definitely, either a back 3 and or a back four. And if it is a back three and it is wing backs, obviously Dallas would be the right wing back. Who would be left wing back for you? Would it be Alioski or would it be Leif Davis, who did quite well against Manchester City?
I don't know. I don't know who I didn't think Alioski played particularly well against Manchester City, but we're not really used Leif Davis extensively in that position, so I'm probably going to go with Alioski just for experience sake. Although I am a big fan of Leif Davis.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I am a big fan of Leif Davis, but yeah, I think just experience-wise, and then I think it's safer to go with Alioski, really, definitely. But no, certainly will be an interesting game on Monday night, and hopefully Leeds United can pick up all 3 points. Well, that does bring us to the end of episode 77 of the All Things Leeds podcast. Thank you very much, as always, to Charles for joining me.
Thanks for having me on, Matt.
Yep, no worries. Thank you for always joining me as always, mate. And hopefully you have a good week and the rest of your weekend, mate. And thank you as well to everyone who has listened or watched. We really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed them, why not subscribe or follow the podcast? Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts if you are listening on there. Or even if you're not and you have an Apple device, then go straight over to Apple Podcasts, search All Things Leeds, and then give us a 5-star rating. That'll be very much appreciated, and share the podcast around as well. It very much does help us out when we do very much appreciate it. Follow All Things Leeds on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search All Things Leeds 1 on Twitter and Instagram. Search All Things Leeds on Facebook, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. All Things Leeds. But yeah, Charles and I, we will be back next week. So for now, take care, stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.